Hey YouTube, this is NewNet TV coming at you guys with another video, and today this video is going to be EA Sports UFC 2's knockout mode. So I think this is an article, I don't know, it's called Xbox Achievement. So let's just get this started. So when you play a UFC game with a friend and they're lost once the match goes down to the canvas, EA Sports UFC 2 makes this a thing of the past. Enter knockout mode, arguably the best UFC game mode of all time, and the perfect place for friends to punch 7 shades of crap out of one another's without ever having to worry about the game. It's but one mode in a selection of many in EA's second crack at the world-conquering MMA brand, which promises to be a far more accomplished, fully featured experience than its forebear. EA Sports UFC 2 starts with the first game's solid foundation, says creator-director Brian Hayes, and builds from there. The banner gameplay features that make this sequel a more inviting prospect than the first game include, but are not limited to, a new dynamic grappling system and knockout physics. Hayes describes dynamic grappling as a revolution in how the ground game feels, and going hands-on with it immediately confirms that he's absolutely right. It's one of several refinements to the gameplay that makes UFC 2 an easier game to get into. Lowers the barrier to entry. So one thing that they said something, is dynamic grappling new or something? It must be, because it must have not been in the first game, and they said something in this article, this game is going to be way better than the first one. So I believe them. This is UFC here we're talking about. In the past MMA games, including THQ and Yuke's previous efforts, I found the ground game overly complicated. So it's refreshing to play one where grappling is so straightforward and intuitive. It works using the right analog stick with a simple icon indicating which direction to push to change position. A color-coded meter fills, and the first to fill it successfully carries out the transition. Get into a position where you can execute a submission, and holding the left trigger will engage an armbar, chokehold, or whatever, depending on where your fighter is in relation to your opponent. You can pull off advanced transitions with a left bumper, and you can hit face buttons to punch or knee while caught in a clinch. It really is that simple. As for the new knockout physics, this ensures that animations and falls appear natural. Exactly, that's what I want to say in my last video. The falls are way different when you knock someone out. It's like it's more impact and it's more sound. Like the sound effects of when they fall down. It's like you just fall from a building or something. With a procedurally driven physics model dictating how a fighter kisses the canvas once hit by a knockout strike. It sounds obvious, but that's really all there is to it. And when you can't help but flinch and sharply inhale when punches, elbows, kicks, and knees land, you know that EA Canada has probably got it right. UFC Ultimate Team is another banner mode you'll likely see on the back of the box. As the first of its kind in an MMA game, according to Hayes, it might be your first port of call in EA Sports UFC 2. Like FIFA Ultimate Team and all the other Ultimate Team modes in EA Sports games to date, you can earn coins or buy UFC points to unlock packs of cards of varying values, which in the case include fighter perks and fitness boost, new modes, attributes, and other upgrades. You'll assemble a team of 5 fighters and take part in bouts to win titles and hopefully make said team the best in the world. It promises to be as deep and engaging as the career mode and boost UFC 2's activity immersively. So basically, I think that's the mode where they're talking about where you predict a fight, and if in real life in UFC, and if they win, you get points or something like that, I think. All right, here's the last one here. Live events, meanwhile, enable you to play real UFC events as they happen, like tonight's Bisping versus Silva fight, or you can put together your own best poke card with custom events, what Hayes has dubbed Dana White mode, a new practice mode crammed with various options, meanwhile gives you an arena in which to hone your skills and get to grips with the game's far more simple, intuitive fighting systems with helpful overlays and on-screen indicators giving you relevant information when you need it. Factor in the overhauled fighter creation mode, which now features female fighters alongside a glut of cosmetic additions, face morphing and such in UFC 2, and evidently going to be a far more substantial offering than the first game. We'll be jumping straight into knockout mode when EA Sports UFC 2 launches, though enjoying the inherent simplicity of a stand-up fight. One significant strike takes off 1 point of health, while parries win back at point, and you can set handicaps to level the playing field against a lesser rival. It's the perfect party mode and might well be UFC 2's secret weapon, alongside revamped core gameplay that feels like it should once you get the controller in your hands. If you found the first EA Sports UFC somewhat disappointing and lacking in content, EA Sports UFC 2 may well redress the balance, ensuring you'll want to re-enter the octagon and start pummeling all comers when it releases on 17th of March for Xbox One and PS4. It's time. Yeah, so that's probably enough said. That was enough information. I don't really have to say my opinion. Usually I'll say my opinion at the end, but this was a good amount of information. Without further ado, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, share. Don't forget to become a new net today by subscribing. I'll see you new nets in the next video. Comment, let me know what you guys' opinion are. Let me know what I can improve on this channel, because I always like feedback. And yeah.